Just minutes after being sworn in, President Biden sent his first tweet. And don't be afraid, this one makes some sense here. He says there's no time to waste, and he's getting right back to work tackling the crisis we face. And it didn't seem to just be empty rhetoric. He's taking solid action. He's not kidding around here. Day one, Biden reversing the Trump Muslim ban, again allowing immigration from 5 Muslim-majority nations. He's also moving to get the U.S. to re-enter the Paris Climate Accord that Trump pulled us out of. Biden also mandating masks on all federal property, including Congress and the White House. He's also extending federal foreclosure and eviction bans possibly until the end of the pandemic, as well as a moratorium on federal student loan payments. All that just today, and expecting a major announcement on immigration within the hours. Now I want to bring in a man who served in the Senate with Joe Biden, Dennis DeConcini, a former Democratic senator from Arizona, kind enough to give us some time. And Senator, first off, they always say there's the man and then there's the moment. For what the moment calls for, is your former colleague the right person for it?
Well, in my judgment, he is. Of course, I'm somewhat biased. I served with him for 18 years, served on the Judiciary Committee with him. And, you know, Joe Biden not only is qualified with all the experience he's had in government through the legislative and vice president, but he's a decent man. And he has a moral compass. He is not vindictive. And I think that's what we need this time at this particular period of our history. So it's going to be a horrendous job for him because things have been so in such turmoil in my judgment, Rich. But I think he's up to it and will do as good as anybody can.
Like yourself, and I mean this is a compliment, Joe Biden's a creature of the Senate, and there's some show ponies, I've interviewed a whole bunch of them, who love to get in front of the camera, but don't like the art of legislating. Biden likes both. And I know throughout history, that's how stuff got done, negotiation as well as compromise. But in the moment that we're in, should he just plow through? I know it's the narrowest of margins and get as much as he can, or should he try and find compromise? I mean, you didn't have in the Senate with you guys like Hawley and Cruz. You know, is there willing partners to negotiate with on the other side?
Biden is a compromiser. He understands how the system works best, and it doesn't work fighting each other. Now, there are going to be disagreements, and they're not going to agree on some things, and they won't pass that Biden may want. But he is a negotiator, and that's what he built his career on. And serving on the Judiciary Committee with him for 18 years, I saw him, and he was chairman of that committee about not quite half that time. And he understands the process. So he will be one that will reach across the aisle. Now, to me, it's a challenge of those across the aisle. Some will come. There will be Romneys, but then there will be those other senators that you mentioned. And whether or not they'll come around, I don't know. It doesn't appear to be that way. But Joe will not just dismiss them. He will, in my judgment, my opinion, he will go to them and ask them for help. And they'll have to say, no, it can't. Or, you know, you're a fool or whatever they want to say. But maybe there's some room there.
I can only imagine what it must have been like for somebody like yourself to see what happened a little over 2 weeks ago on January 6th, where you had a sitting president egg on a coup. Listen to what Mitch McConnell said just yesterday, and obviously there was more than one audience for this message.
The last time the Senate convened, we had just reclaimed the Capitol from violent criminals who tried to stop Congress from doing our duty. The mob was fed lies. They were provoked by the president and other powerful people.
Now, maybe I'm wrong, Senator, and God knows every time I try to ascribe some nobility to it, I end up, you know, getting disappointed. But sure, McConnell, I think, wants to get the GOP back from Trump. He doesn't see a future there for the party, and I don't think he liked a lot of things that went down the last 4 years. But I got from what Pence didn't do today and what he did do, what McConnell said there, that it was their house too when the People's House got attacked, and there's legitimate outrage, and he wants to hold Trump accountable. What's your gut tell you that when this moves to the trial phase, will there be 17 Republicans that will vote to convict Trump?
Well, nobody knows, Rich, for sure. That's why you asked the question. It's a good question. I do think that if McConnell is prepared to vote for a conviction and expelling and putting the amendment on it that prohibits him from running office, the 17 votes will be there. I don't know what he's going to do, of course. I'm hopeful that my former colleague, Senator McConnell, will say, now is the time. Now is the time for the Republican Party to come back to the Barry Goldwater, the Ronald Reagan, the John McCain type of party that has led this country for a long time. Like Ronald Reagan said, I didn't leave the Republican Party. The Republican Party left me. And that's what I am hopeful that many, many Republicans in the Senate and in the House and throughout the country will come to that same conclusion.
Finally, I'm curious, Senator, when you saw Marine One leave with now former President Trump, and then obviously we saw the day's events at the inauguration, were you more relieved that America got through the last 4 years, especially the final chapters of it? Or are you excited that we can get a lot done in the next 4 years, or however long here Biden's going to be president for? Which is the emotion you felt more today?
Well, to me, you can look to the past and you can dwell on that and you can overreact and you can keep hashing it around, but I think you got to move on. And that's why I have the confidence that my former colleague, Joe Biden, President Biden, can move us in that direction. It's not going to be easy because the country is very split. And former President Trump has just divided it and has a following that is surprising to me and many other Americans, both Democrat and Republicans. But I think you have to move ahead and you have to try, and he will do that. He's that type of man, and he has a moral compass, and he will tell, like he said today, I will tell you the truth. And that's what this country needs. When you say the word excited, I'd like to be excited, jump up and down and sing a song or something, but I'm hopeful and I'm positive that Biden has the capabilities if he can bring about some cooperation.
Well, that's a perfect note to end on. Senator, thank you all, as always, for the time. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, and thank you for having me. It's a wonderful program you have here, and it's a wonderful new day. America's back again. That's what I like to think. Thank you, Rich.
And up next, Donald Trump's final hours in office looked a lot like the way he started. Lies, distortions, and selfishness. After the break, I'm going to show you what we mean.